Hello, hi. I'm just gonna let you know our listen start time is 6:30. You'll be shocked to know that at this poetry event we're gonna start a little late, but also blame the colors, okay? Because I've had multiple messages like, I'm on my way. Colors rule, you know. So there's plenty of seats here. I know people have been grabbing their own chairs, but there's lots over here. I think these are some nice people too. So get seats. If anybody wants to read a poem of their own that is inspired by Andrea or a poem of Andrea's, the list is out in the back. We also have Pilsen Community Books selling Andrea's books in the back, so feel free to get back there and buy that your Andrea Gibson collection, etc. Okay, so we'll see you I'll be back in 10 minutes. Okay, all right, good. You got like an extra minute and a half because I couldn't find my glasses. So. Okay. Hi. My big conflict of interest is that I want to see your like gorgeous faces, but then I can't see the piece of paper because I'm old. We legit got an inquiry from the Chicago Tribune asking about like, oh, isn't the Poetry Center, isn't it a good place for older people to meet and make friends, and we want to interview about that, you know, people 50 and older, and I was like, how do you, older people. Anyway, hello, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. For Angel to get through. I'm going to start, as we always do at the Poetry Center, with land and labor acknowledgements. Seated atop a continental divide, the Chicago region is located at the intersection of several great waterways and soil, which created a destination trading post and a healing site for First Nations indigenous tribes. Chikawa, Chicago, is the traditional homelands of the Winnebago, Ho-Chunk, Oto, Missouri, Iowa's Menominee, Nesswauk, Sauk, Miami, Wea, Hiampasha, Kickapoo, Illini Confederacy, Ojibwe, Adawa, and Potawatomi peoples. These and other tribal nations have been and continue to be stewards of these lands and come home. We acknowledge that the environmental destruction of Anahuac, Turtle Island, in order for white European colonizers to create an industrialized North American United States came at the violent expense of indigenous people. We acknowledge that the formation of these North American United States was brought about through the forced, uncompensated labor of enslaved Black people and Asian immigrants. We acknowledge that Black people's rich contributions to North America have been widely ignored and erased. We further acknowledge that the racism that fostered and encouraged these attitudes normalized the marginalization and oppression of generations of Black people, indigenous people, people of color, and that racism continues to this day. The Chicago Poetry Center acknowledges the land we currently occupy in Chicago, all our ancestors who came before us, and their living descendants who envision and shape our future as we hold this shared space for art and expression. At the Chicago Poetry Center, our mission is to connect people and poetry, actively engage poets with communities, and foster creative literacy in the city and beyond. We envision and work to create a fair and verdant world rooted in our expression, human connection, and boundless imagination. Before we move into the show itself, I just want to make a couple of quick announcements. We have one more chance to attend Poetry the Grain's open mic and reading down 20 South Canal this coming Monday. There's flyers on the back table. Noel Quinones, our feature that night. The Blue Hour season kicks off Wednesday, September 17th with features Marianne Chan and Megan Plunkett, plus the writing workshop open mic, and that's the third Wednesday of every month through May. Tonight's event being live streamed, and that live stream will be archived through the CPC website, so be forewarned, you are being recorded if you're up here. Great. Those are all my logistical things. Once again, thank you for wooing my logistical announcements. Tonight, of course, we are gathered to remember, to grieve, to rejoice in the person who was and the energy that is and always will be Andrea Gibson. I was nervous of telling somebody this earlier. I was very, immediately, within a few days of Andrea's passing, I was like, okay, I want to fulfill the Poetry Center off a gathering around this. And then I was like, well, of course I want to text Meg and ask for her permission and blessing, and also, she's in fresh grief. So what does an organizer do? So I texted her, and fortunately, she gave her green light blessing to this event. So we send enormous, big, huge love to Megan Valley out in Colorado. I didn't write anything. I just want to say a couple of things. Andrea
was a friend and a long time colleague and compatriot and light, for me and for so many people. And it was very for me in the last couple of years, just to make it all about me for a second. To see the world come to know Andrea more and more. Like I sort of got used to oh, Andrea sells out Olya Hall, no biggie, just a poet selling out many thousand seat theater. I got with that, And then over the last couple of years, since their diagnosis and since they started being more and more of this, not even more and more of a public figure, but more and more of a beacon, right? Their messages just became clearer and clearer, and more avenues opened up for that to be shared. I didn't realize how strange then it would be when they passed, and all of a sudden it was the New York Times and the Guardian, and for me, I was like, were we friends, or were they a famous person that I heard at one time? It just becomes this strange thing, where they belong so much to the world, but Andrea always belonged to the world. No matter what, I was thinking about how, we would go to see them. I was like, oh, I just want to hug my friend, but I don't I might get shamed if I try to jump the line, People are in it to win it for the longest, and it took forever because Andrea talked with great intent and presence to every person in that line, right? And I was thinking about how, on some level, that was because for Andrea, the people came first, and the connection came first, and the poetry was the way, right? It was the mode. And it was a very important mode. It was the mode of communication. But for me, a little bit I love the poem, I love the language, and then if someone receives it, that's great, And then I think about Andrea, and I get called into a different kind of accountability, where I'm like, what is the point if it's not about human connection, right? Hence, very much wanting to have this event, being so deeply grateful that you're all here. We're gonna start off tonight with a little showcase of some folks who knew Andrea, whom Andrea knew before we move into the open mic style portion of the event. If you are interested in reading a poem of Andrea's or a poem of your own inspired by Andrea, or just want to share thoughts, reflections, etc., all in the span of 3 minutes-ish, please. And didn't sign up yet, there's a list in the back there. Please do sign up for that. Throughout the show, I really do want to encourage us to balance care and respect, right? So take care of yourself. If you need to get up and go get some water or, another glass of rosé, we've already gone through a full bottle. Get a beverage, buy a book, or go just through the lobby. We have the library, which is marked as a respite room if you just need to shut down the system for a minute. Feel free to do so. Just, do it between poems if possible, right? So let's take care of ourselves. Let's take care of other. There are tissue boxes. You will note all around the edges of the room. Feel free to grab one for yourself, pass it to your neighbors, etc. Okay. I think it's time to move into our showcase. Where's Alex? I asked Alex to start. And I'm not doing bios or anything. I'm just gonna say names. So please join me in welcoming, to kick off our showcase, Alex Nova.
Just gonna put this right here for all of us. Marty, you're right. They had this light. They had this way of giving light. And I feel very fortunate to have encountered Andrea's work 2009, 2008. And I feel incredibly grateful that over the course of their growth, watch that light grow from, that they were giving to the world, grow from a spark into this bonfire. Marty and V and the CPC, thank you so much for creating space for us to show up, get together. I was not going to make it through this crying. If I do, it's going to be a surprise to all of us. One of the lines that was kind of an anchor over the years is this line from, I believe, second spoken word album, Without Breaks. The poem is Say Yes, and it opens with the line, when two violins are placed in a room, if a chord of one violin is struck, the other violin will sound the note. If this is your definition of hope, then this is for you. If you haven't had a chance to read that poem yet, I encourage you to, and acquaint yourselves with some of their earlier work. So in 2009, I was a student at Washington State. I was figuring out my queerness. I was madly in love for the first time, and clueless about poetry. So my love, her favorite poet, was Andrea Gibson. And as most first young loves, what happens is it goes to shit. So I had this really, listening to, being all heartbroken, listening to Andrea's poems. I got this brilliant idea, so I thought that if I'm going to win my first love's heart back, I am going to find a way to get Andrea Gibson to perform at our college. And so when it comes to Andrea being this beacon of hope, it was enough fuel to make it happen, and I think it was, April, May 2009, right, as I was getting ready to graduate, that we made this thing happen to where it wasn't just Andrea, it was the Saltlands. So some incredible poets, Sonia Renee, Marty, Denise Jolly. Yes, Denise Jolly, thank you so much. And so funny story. I go to pick up Andrea from the airport. They ride separately, and I'm telling this whole story of the idea of and this is why you're here. And I wrote this poem, and I'm gonna perform it. I'm gonna love that. When I look back on that, I got embarrassed about myself. But also so thankful, because that is how it started, being more hopeful, being more optimistic, being more constructive, and really directing that energy towards better. So over the years, as their popularity grew, I had a chance to bring them back again when I worked one a couple of times. And then by doing that work, I had an opportunity to meet so many other incredible people through the community. Marty, one of them. And get really more connected with my own community. And so when I think about this gift of legacy that they left us with, my hope for all of us, no matter where we are, no matter what kind of walk of life, is to be at minimum a spark to the people around us, especially when it's ugly, and especially when it's hard. Because that's when we need each other the most. So that first love, after that win back, I learned over the years that you never go back to exes, and there's a right ex. But after I was truly going through that heartbreak, and now I've had Shakespeare's poems. It's a hold me up. There's one poem that I kept listening to over and over and over again. And that's the poem that I would like to share with you this evening. So thank you again, like Marty said, for being here, for sharing space, for being with each other. And Kelly, who I just met, said that, you know, if something happens when we cry with each other, we kind of get to know each other a little bit, become friends. So here's to always becoming better friends together. Photograph from the bow wakes, from when the bow wakes. I wish I was a photograph tucked into the corners of your wall. I wish I was a photograph you carried like the future in your pocket. I wish I was that face you show the strangers when they ask you where you come from. I wish I was that someone that you come from at the time you get there. And when you get there, I wish I was that someone who got phone calls and postcards saying, wish you were here. I wish you were here. Autumn is the hardest season. The leaves are falling, and they're falling like they're falling in love with the ground. And the trees are naked and lonely. I keep trying to tell new leaves will come around in the spring, but you can't tell trees those things. They're like me. You just stand there and don't listen. I wish you were here. I've been missing you like crazy. I've been hazy-eyed staring at the bottom of my glass again, thinking of that time when it was so full, it was like we were tapping the moon from moonshine, or sticking straws in the center of the sun and sipping like Icarus would forever kiss the bullets from our guns that never meant to fire, you know. I know you never meant to fire, lover. I know we never married each other. Now the sky clicks from black to blue, and dusk looks like a bruise. I've been wrapping one-night stands around my body like wedding bands, but none of them fit in the morning. They just slip off my fingers and slip out the door, and all that lingers is the sense of you swore if I threw that scent into a wishing well, all the wishes of the world would come true. Do you remember? Do you remember the night I told you I've never been anything more perfect? I've never seen anything more perfect than the snow falling in the glow of a street light. Electricity bowing to nature, mind bowing to heartbeat. This is gonna hurt. Bowing to I love you. I still love you like the moons love the planets they circle around. Like children love recess bells. I still hear the sound of you and think of playgrounds where outcasts are in braces and bruises and acne are finally learning that the rich, handsome bullies are never gonna grow up to be happy. I think of happy when I think of you. So wherever you are, I hope you're happy. I really do. I hope the stars are kissing your cheeks tonight. I hope you finally find a way to quit smoking. I hope your lungs are open and breathing your life. I hope there's a kite in your hand that's flying all the way up to Orion, and you still got 1,000 of string to let out. I hope you're smiling like God is pulling at the corners of your mouth, because I might be naked and lonely, shaking branches for bones, but I'm still time zones away from who I was the day before we met. You were the first smile where my heart broke with sweat, and I wish you were here. I wish you'd never left, but mostly I wish you well. I wish you my very, very best.
Next up, please welcome to the microphone, Tim Stafford.
Hey gang, if you are going through a breakup and want to win back your past, I am not the poet that you want to bring to your school. It's true. But that's why Poetry Slam is awesome, because it's a world that allows geniuses like Andrea Gibson and a schmuck like me to share space and stages. I'm gonna switch the tone up a little bit because I have to air some grievances. Andrea Gibson was very. In 2016, we were on we had the same Red Bloody books, and the owner of Red Bloody, Derek Brown, sent an email to poets on the press asking if they would help participate in a video that was going to announce the book winners that year. And so Derek asked us, if you could film a video of yourself dancing silly and goofy while announcing the names of the winners, that would be great. And we were supposed to dance also that whoever was filming would be in the same rhythm to the song by Drake that's like, yeah, we're going home. That was, it was 2016, so cool. And so he asked if people would want to do it, and I said, yeah, I will do it because I'm a Leo, and so I had my now wife. She stuck with me after this. She filmed me emerging from. I was wearing. Let me set the stage. So I was wearing a Guy Fieri style flame shirt with a denim vest with Iron Maiden patches on it, and I emerged from our laundry room and doing shuffles and silly goofy dances like we were asked to do. And I sent the video to Derek. It's great. So I put it all together. So I'm like, cool. A week or two later, it comes out, and I'm excited to see it. Oh, that's cool. Let's see what it's like. Because I don't know who else has participated in it. And it's the black screen that says the Red Bloody 2016. And the opening scene is the door to my laundry room. And I'm like, all right, I'm kicking it off. And the door slowly opens, but before I can even show me getting out, it cuts to Andrea. And Andrea is not dancing silly. Andrea is dancing with a capital D. And I'm like, what the hell? And then it cuts to another poet, Marty Jackson, who's also doing pop and lock kind of thing. And I feel that I've been swindled at this moment. And then it clips to just us showing the names of the people. I'm like, okay, now maybe this isn't going to be as embarrassing as I thought it would be. But then it does get more because Andrea there's a couple clips, and it's online, it's on YouTube, I get it. Andrea does one thing where they are doing a lot of public thrusts, and at one point turn around and they just grab their butt cheeks and shake a little bit, and if I were to do that, it would be terrible. But Andrea doing it was this makes sense, this is good. And so, and their little dog is watching the whole time, and yeah, and the final thing, Andrea does this thing where they are, it's like summoning waves. I don't know what it is, but it makes sense. It looks great. It looks like they are dancing, everybody's watching, they are on, this is, I don't know how they choreograph this, but at the very last thing they do is they go and then point to the camera and smile, and they smile, and I was like, they're making fun of me, but I thought we were gonna dance, silly little man. And then it cuts to me literally doing this, So I love that video because I got to see Andrea. I didn't know Andrea as well as I would have liked, but everybody I know that was really close to her, or close to them, would say that they are so funny. And when you see them perform, a lot of their poetry is very serious and it's awesome. And I was like, funny. Funny is not what I think of when I think of Andrea Gibson. And then, I went through the books again, and I'm like, they totally were pretty funny. And I'm going to read one of those funny poems that they wrote, and you can judge for yourselves. But yeah, here we go. This is called Marriage. James Bond was also called Mr. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. I tell her this on the back from our trip to San Diego. I tell her this while wearing my gas station sunglasses and my spy hat.
I lean close to her ear in my sultry, and say, from this day forward, I would like you to call me Mr. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. I don't care if we're at the dog park, or at the Olive Bar at the grocery store, or if we're on a camping trip in the wilderness, or if we're baking muffins with my Susan on her farm in Canada. From now on, you are to call me only Mr. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. She's reading a book of nerd poetry. She doesn't look up from the page. I want to make her my horny librarian. I want to show her my spy moves. Kiss, kiss, bang, bang, I whisper. And don't forget the mister. She turns the page. Bang, 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 nothing. Kiss, kiss, nothing. Mr. Bang Bang, no, she says. Stop. I'm not going to call you that, ever. But I know she will. Some night when I'm walking around our house wearing only my ill-fitting boy panties, my belly bloated with 3 bad movies worth of popcorn, when I'm standing in our bathroom mirror, picking the kernels from my teeth, she'll come behind me. Bang, bang. Bang, bang. We'll make love like fugitives. After, we'll smoke cigars, dog watches from his corner of the sex room. That's the best line. If you have a dog, it's the best. So you're into bondage, I'll say. Yes, she'll say, patting my popcorn belly. James bondage. And that, of course, is what marriage is.
We always have a lot of regrets when someone passes, but never getting to walk up behind Andrea and just say, Mr. Kisses Bang Bang, the joke is one that I will hold on to. Not that I'm the person, but just in general, to be clear. Please welcome to the microphone, all the way from Texas, Amy Weaver.
Hello. Y'all, Andrea was the very first poet I ever competed against on a national stage as a slam poet. That was just the very first night, Seattle 2001. I don't know if it's alphabetical, but Team Dallas and Team Denver managed to always somehow be on the same floor. So for about 15 years, 12 years, I don't know, a long time. I spent a lot of years just sort of crawling over her in the hallway on my way back to my room after just whatever was happening on any given night. Because there were lots of either fights or things. I mean, listen, we process. Sometimes we process so much we gotta do it in the hallway all night. Listen. I spent a lot of time in a lot of places where Andrea was reaching me and never knew it. So specifically. Every time I open a book and want to hand it to somebody else, those words reach me just like a prayer. I could pick up any one of these right now and just say I'll need a message and Andrea's going to give it to me. She's going to give it to you. They're going to give it to the world. I think that's real clear. So I just want to say thank you. Say thank you. Because I got to show up for that. They've been showing up for me for a very long time. So I'm going to read the poem I really wanted to come and read, and then maybe a short one for somebody else real quick. Angels of the Get Through. This year's been the hardest year of your whole life. so hard you cannot see a future most days. The pain is bigger than anything else. It takes up the whole horizon no matter where you are. You feel unsafe. You feel unsafe. Your past is so present, you can feel your baby teeth. Sitting on the couch, you swear your feet, they don't reach the floor. You keep remembering the first time you saw a bird's nest held together by an old shoelace and the scraps of a plastic bag. You knew the home of a person could be built like that. A lot of things you'd rather throw away. You keep worrying, you're taking up too much space. I wish you'd let yourself be the Milky Way. Remember when I told you that I was going to be a full-time poet and you paid my rent for 3 years? Best friend. Angel of the get-through. All living is stone chasing. Every good heart has lost its roof. Let all the walls collapse at your feet. Scream timber when they ask you how you are. Fine? You're the luckiest answer. It's the opposite here. Here. And that is the only place up on the map. Here is where you learn laughter can go extinct and come back. I'm already building a museum for every treasure you unearth in the rock bottom. Holy vulnerable cliff, God mason, heart heavier than all the bricks. And see, this is what the pain made you. An open road. An avalanche of feel it all. Don't let anyone ever tell you you were too much. Or that it has been too long. Whatever guards the feet on the bridge of this song, you were made of that thing. That unbreakable. The photograph of you at 5 years old, the year you ran away from school because you wanted to go home, you're almost there. You're the same compass you have always been. You are the same who never left my side during my worst year. You caught every tantrum I threw with your bare hands and shoved it back at the blood moon. Said it's okay. Everyone's survival looks a little like death sometimes. I wrote a poem called Say Yes while I was cursing your name for not letting me go. Best friend, this is what we do. We gather each other up. We say the cup is half yours and half mine. We say alone is the last place you will ever be. We say tonight inside. Reading Pema Chodron while everyone is out in the town. Pema will say only to the extent that we expose ourselves over and over to annihilation in that which is indestructible and must be found. He'll say Pema is so wise. And I'll see that she is. And we are too. Angels to get through. We are too. I'm going to read a very short one real quick, maybe. Andrea, Andrew, naming is a powerful thing. I don't know if y'all, I'm sure everybody pays attention to just all the light, all the ways they just continue. They're going to continue. And we're going to continue. And like that is probably the most beautiful legacy in all of this, I feel. Like, saying the name, naming is power. Right? Like, this is how we carry on. This is how we know and love and bring and just move each other through this life. Your name is a gift. You can return it if it doesn't fit.
and pass it around. This is just a notebook in which you can put a memory of Andrea, a wish for Meg, a wish for the world based on your understanding of Andrea, a picture of a flower, whatever you'd like, because we're going to send this on from Chicago to Meg in Denver this week. Okay, so I'm just going to put it over here. Pass it around, and with that, please welcome to the mic, Clem Klaus.
Hi everyone else. I first met Andrea Gibson when I first slam poetry, when I first met queerness. It was a big year. A lot happened for me around that time. And I met Andrea as like so many other college did, just like fangirling like so hard, like trying to be cool about it. Yeah, I'm a poet too, but like only sort of. And as I got to like be in their orbit more and more, they represented and still represent so many different things to so many different people. And when I saw them, I always saw some parts of myself that I wasn't quite ready to see yet. And it's really beautiful to look back now and know that that's what that was, right? This like longing to be around them, listening to their words and being like, why do I feel so connected to you? Like maybe I just maybe it's a crush on you, and like sure I did, but like it was more than that, you know. And then I got to get to know them as a person much more when they came to stay with me when I was studying abroad in London. They were on tour and they came and stayed with us, and it was really cool just to be like, wow, you're a person. Cool. Yeah, and then throughout the years, kind of sharing space with them here and there. Yeah, and so in trying to figure out what piece of theirs to read, I'm just like, which life chapter of mine do I read? There's like an Andrea poem for every life chapter, and I've had a lot of chapters. But I decided to pick one that felt really resonant with who I am like right now in this moment, and who I am like very recently coming into. And I have to say too that like grief is just so fucking weird. Like I don't know if anyone else had this experience, but like every grief kind of opens the door to every other grief that you've experienced, and like we all had a lot of fucking grief, you know, the last few years in the entire world. And so when I, you know, heard that they had passed, I had no idea what to do with myself, and I just like sought out every single comment of every single like announcement of their passing, and just corrected people on their pronouns. I'm Aries, I gotta do something about it. So I was like, what did I do wanted this? I don't know. But that's what I did, so I guess that's your gift from me, Andrea. And it did make a lot of people really angry, which I loved. That's not in the spirit of Andrea, but that's solidly in the spirit of me. And so, you know, grief is always a little bit, you know, selfish too. But the poem of theirs that I want to read is really the one that speaks to me right now. Your life. It isn't that you don't like boys. It's that you only like boys you want to be. David, with his jaw carved on the side of a cliff. Malcolm, who doesn't have secrets, just stories he owes no one. Chris, the basketball hero with the tick, blinks 15 times when he makes a shot. You spend hours blinking in a mirror, wishing you could be a star like him. Mary Levine calls you a dyke, and you don't have the language to tell her she's wrong and right. You just show up to her house promising to paint your fingernails red with what will gush from her busted face if she ever says it again. You're in the 7th grade. You don't even know you want to. You still believe in the people who believe in Jesus. Can't even feel that desire through a self-threat. You just want to kick your desk on the way to the principal's office, crouch in detention, cut your hair, and spit out whatever you don't want in your mouth. Your own name even, skirting around the truth. You don't yet know the boys are building their confidence on stolen land. But you worry the girls might be occupying things you'll never understand, won't ever be good at. You take one pretty step and feel like you're pouring bubbles into your own bloodbath. You don't want a soft death. You want a hard life. That is your life. Your life is not a room that doesn't stop demanding you keep your eyes on the floor. Your life at prom would run home in a snowstorm, chucking your last pair of heels in a snow bank, realizing you are the only boy you ever wanted to tear your dress off for. Your life, the first Christmas you spend alone, the years you learn to build your family from scratch. Your life, the first time someone drags you from a restroom by the collar of your coat. Your life, each time airport security screams, pink or blue, trying to figure it out, which machine setting to run you through. Choosing your life, and how that made you into someone who now finds it easy to explain your gender by saying that you are happiest on the road, when you're not here or there, but in between. That yellow line coming down the center of it all, like a goddamn something. Your name is not a song you will sing under your breath. Your pronouns haven't even been invented yet. You're going to shave your head and drive through Texas. You're going to kill your own God so that you can fall in love for the first time. They're going to keep telling you your heartbeat is a pre-existing condition. They're going to keep telling you you are a crime of nature. You're going to look at all of your options and choose conviction. Choose to carve your own heart off the side of a cliff. Choose to spend your whole life telling secrets you owe no one to everyone until there isn't anyone who can insult you by calling you what you are, you holy blinking star. Actually. It's just a really good one, so I emphasize it. Well, I'm going to start from over here again. Hold your please. By calling you what you are, you holy blinking star. You high streak of light, falling over and over for your hard life, your perfect life, your sweet and beautiful life.
Please welcome to the microphone, Billy Tuggle.
How y'all doing? So I got about 5 or 6 minutes to take you through a range of emotions. Start with Give You the Resistance poet. From Lord of the Butterflies. White feminism, a noun. A race that claims that it is better than no feminism at all. Like, at least Hitler was a vegetarian. Like, we could actually get comfortable being the uneaten animal in the lap of the man making lampshades out of humans. So, my very first encounter, and I say encounter, not when I met. My very first encounter with Andrea was at the 2001 National Poetry Slam in Seattle. 99 was the class that I had ever been to. That was new, and like everybody in the room who competes was ever seen it. When this thing came to Chicago, I was like, "Oh, y'all national? Okay, cool." So I got bit by the bug 2 years later. And I lived in Seattle, so I hadn't made a team, but I could go and hang out with everybody and see what's what. And I already knew poets from Chicago, like Marty, and a few other poets that had toured through Chicago, so it was a good time. Well, I guess the second or third night back then into the festival, when the semifinals, I saw the Denver team compete at Sit and Spin, which is this really cool laundry bar in Seattle. Afterwards, I witnessed Andrea, who, like a lot of people, I consider a friend, even if it's a distant friend. It's a friend I could have, and wish I could have been closer with. Andrea completely, utterly fucking melting down with teammate who I'm super tight with, and we talk about this every few years, Paulie Littman. And after thinking back, talking about this decades later, it really was a debate, spirited debate over who really gave a shit more about poetry and slam. And for that, I love it and appreciate it. Andrea had a certain magic that, you know, if you were kind of just getting started or maybe on your second or third tour and, you know, you calling people and you're trying to get this gig here or that gig there, and all of a sudden Andrea and your friends are sweeping through and making enough money, and all of a sudden you can't get that gig that you wanted. But if you wait 2 months, you might actually get a gig that pays in the same spot for a little bit more. Because they're making more money because Andrea and friends came through and ups the economy. Andrea will change a poet's asking price. That happened in I think it was the aforementioned, 2008-2009 tour with Tara and everybody else. In 2017, the National Poetry Slam was in Denver. Myself, I was on the Chicago Music Graffiti team, as I have been several times, more than several times. We competed in one of those bouts that just completely, utterly packs the room. We had Albuquerque in the room, we had Denver Murder room. So you have a home team, you're going to have that kind of night. Also, the pickup team from the Last Chance Slam made in Denver was in the crowd. So it was packed out, it was hot, it was going to be a really good time, and if I may brag on Chicago Poets, anytime we show up nationals, people are kind of like, ooh, here comes Chicago, we had a really good bout before, so we knew it was going to be a sword-swinging slugfest. It was one of the best third places that I ever taken. And I mean, you know, we laugh out of humor, but also out of irony. I'm in a room with former teammates that have taken some second, third, and fourth places, and you just shrug your shoulders and walk away, and you can afford to pay the registration fee. But what happened after that bout was something that was utterly fucking amazing to me. I had short conversations with Gibby about stage fright. For those of you that don't know, Andrea suffered crippling stage fright. So to see that kind of rock star shit on stages that you can either stand and admire or you're gonna have to actually compete against, that in and of itself is rather intimidating. But you also understand that for somebody to suffer the crippling stage fright that they do, to go up there and make it look as effortlessly as you do, when they return that same appreciation, it's like platinum. My team walks out of the auditorium, we take a spectacular third place, we're happy about it. We got beat by Mercury, we got beat by ABQ. It's all good. I'm with my squad, it's Moshe and friends. And I see Buddy, I see Megan, I see Andrea. Buddy gives me a great big giant hug because I ain't seen in years. Megan and me aren't so super tight, but what's really cool is like the basketball players type shoulder to shoulder, like, what's up? And then out of nowhere, I found myself lifted off of the ground, approximately 2 feet. And if you know me, if you don't know me, you see me now. I have looked and weighed this much. I was 17 years old. I am 150 pounds of brainstorm. Andrea is not that much less. Andrea picked me up off of the ground and hug tackled me for the Bruce Lee poem that I did at National Slam. So we understood that not only has Andrea's poetry itself lifted us, but Andrea literally has lifted its efforts to me.
Come on.
So before I go away, a quick suite. An excerpt from another laureate named Gibson. This is Will, my kid brother, the poet laureate of Eureka, California.
Yeah.
The hurt you feel when a loved one dies is when the bad in you is dying off to make room for the good that was inside of them to live on inside you. The hurt happens the worst when you don't make room fast enough, and all the emotions, good, bad, and anger, and sadness, and scar tissue, when you're fighting for enough room to scream or breathe, it can break you like window. Do not let yourself be a broken window. Do not shatter. You are not made of glass. This is mine. What They Don't Tell You, after the Fidelity of Epitaphs by Marty McConnell. What they don't tell you is that even as the deluge feels like it's subsiding, the wind throws your healing aside, brings flood to your doorstep, to your basement of memories, drowns your garden beds. What they don't tell you is you will witness breakdown, tears, in a room scented in sterility and finality, your own, on a bus, on the way to say, I honor you. What they don't tell you is that you can feel it even before the last lights, that it will not be policed, even by self, that every memory is a brick in a twisting path that you pray, you hope, you reason, you unreason. What no one tells you about the grief is that it has no edges. How hard is it to see a horizon? No road signs, creaking bridges, same shitty drainage you notice as you seek shelter from the new downpour. And abandoned filled with old games and paintings and conversations. But in that old building, sit and feel cool air and mist through a broken window. You will find small sanctuary, reclaim heartbeats. You will accept quiet peace long enough to feel their ubiquity. And this is why we don't sleep. Finally, from Lord of the Butterflies. All the good in you.
Yes.
When all the good in you starts arguing with all the bad in you about who you really are, never let the bad in you make the better case.
Billy also bringing the deep slam nerdery. About people were like, bouts? What? It's fine. Don't worry about it. It's not important. All right, please welcome up Faylita Hicks.
The last time I was with poets for memory was for Shannon. And we were in church, and poets just stood up one by one saying lines and verses, and it was beautiful, and I wanted to be here for the beginning. Traffic, I'm from South Shore, so that is that. Those who know me know that I do ancestral work. This is not the first person I had to put on the altar this year. I asked what they wanted to hear, and so we're going to do a little bit of what they asked from me. Y'all, there are very few people who, when I first meet them, I know they are a legend. Very few. Because of the life I've had, the gift of living, I've had a chance to meet a lot of people, right? A lot of people who fill in themselves, right? But if I could explain to you what it was like the first time I ever saw Andrea in person, I had always seen the stages, I had always seen all the recordings, and it was the first and probably one of the, I'd say 3 times in my life where I was like, I couldn't speak. And when I got the news, I was just like, legend, immediately. Legend. It's very rare that you get to live in the same life, community, as actual legends. people who are going to go down in history. They're going to be in books. They're going to be taught in schools. Very rarely do you get to be in any sort of community with those people. So, this is what they requested. I don't know what I'm doing. I just know I'm going to do it. May the light find you. 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 Always, always, always may the light find you. Always, always, always. This is tincture. Come on. Imagine when a human dies, the soul misses the body, actually grieves the loss of its hands and all it holds, misses the throats, closing, shy, reading out loud on the first day of school. Imagine the soul misses the stubbed toe, the loose tooth, the funny bone. The soul still asks, why does the funny bone do that? It's just weird. Imagine the soul misses the thirsty garden cheeks watered by grief. This is how the body could sleep through a dream. What else can sleep through a dream? What else can laugh? What else can wrinkle the smile's autograph? Imagine the soul misses each falling eyelash waiting to be a wish. Misses the wrist, scream away the blade. The soul misses the lisp, the stutter, the limp. The soul misses the holy bruise blue from that army of blood rushing to the wound side. When a human dies, the soul searches the universe for something blushing, something shaking in the cold, something that scars, sweeps the universe for patience warmth in the last nerve fighting for its life, the voice box aching to be heard. The soul misses the way the body would hold another body and not be two bodies, being God doubled in grace. The soul misses how the mind told the body, you have fallen from grace. And the body said, erase every scripture that doesn't have a pulse. There isn't a single page in the Bible that can wince, that can clumsy, that freckle, that can hunger. Imagine the soul misses hunger. God. Emptiness. Rage. The face that was never taught to curl, curl. The teeth that were never taught to clench, clench. The body that was never taught to make love, made love. Like a hungry ghost digging its way out of the grave. The soul misses the forever of old age. The skin that no longer fits. The soul misses every single day the body was sick. The now it forced. The here it built. From the fever. Fever is how the body prays. How it burns and begs for another average day. The soul misses the legs creaking up the stairs. Misses the fear that climbed up the vocal cords to curse the wheelchair. The soul misses what the body could not let go. What else could hold on that tightly to everything? What else could see, hear the chain of a swing set and fall to its knees? What else could give a touch a screen door and taste lemonade? What else could come back from a war and not come back, but still try to live, still try to lullaby? When a human dies, the soul moves through the universe trying to describe how a body trembles when it's lost, softens when it's safe, how a wound would heal given nothing but time. Understand. Nothing in space can imagine it. No comet, nebula, no ray of light can fathom the landscape of awe, the heat of shame, the fingertips pulling the first gray hair and throwing it away. I can't imagine the stars say, tell us again about the goosebumps. Tell us again about the pain. May the light find you always. May the light find you always. May the light find you always. Always. Always.
Okay, we're going to transition into
didn't sign up, but you now feel like, oh, I too would like to be able to verbalize an Andrea Gibson poem to the world. See in the back. We're gonna start with Brianna Grace Armstrong. Brianna, please come on up. And feel free as we're doing this, right? Like, take care of yourself, get some water, all that sort of stuff. But I'm just stalling for you. Come on up.
So I lived in Arizona, and that was where I largely joke about my start in slam poetry. I was born and raised in California, but I'm known as an Arizonan poet, so there's a weird connection there. And one of the first things that I got to bond with some of my new desert friends at the time was just my love of Andrea Gibson. And I'm going to share the poem Jellyfish, which was the first poem that I ever heard. She said, "You are an astronaut clipped from the mothership. You are a jellyfish with no lips." I said, "Listen, short stuff. I skipped my moon rocks across your puddle dive. I'll kiss your punches with my nose. I bet you smell like a butterfly. But I bet you dream cocoon. I bet you never say the word fuck, but we all know you do. My heart is a runaway, and I have been staring at this sky since my love took off. Will you be my friend? Will you poem me a porch swing? Will you punch me in the touch just once? I need to reset my bones. Swing set my rib cage so the next time somebody pushes me away, I'll swing right back into that chisel with my marble spine. Go ahead, build me. Go ahead, throw me at the storm like a fisherman's prayer. Do you even think about God's ears? Wonder if the levee broke a promise. Wonder if the wrecking ball was trying to run its fingers across the soft bricks, but its head was just too heavy. Before you became my friend, picnic with my rebel. Road trip with everyone I left in the dust to do the laundry from the last time I was loaded. How she found my trigger and we woke with the sheets pulled above our heads, praying the mortician would make us pretty. None of us are pretty. But our ugly has an alibi. And our gorgeous has a baby sister. A sand collection or 300 as we keep blowing off for that fluke we carve from our wrists. She lives here.
Come on.
Tell me there is music in my blood, then tell me there is more in my light. Hey me chandelier from the last night I believe this life had so much hurt. I am done kneeling in the church of steepled smokestacks, done scar-gazing train trashes. Give me my wing sprint. Tell me my fingerprints are the shapes of ripples on a frozen lake. Tell me my coal mine will never collapse on my heart. I'll tell you these poems are my birthmarks. And I came this close to having them removed once. Even kept that box cutter hidden in my shoe the day that flight took off but the runway. It's made of marble, made of gush, made of windmill, made of salt. If there is ever in a sea of this hope chest in every word I speak, I am praying to be opened by the night with a belly full of anchors, full of yield. Push my shield from my wingspan. Teach me how the candle wax says thank you to flame. Tell me how your mother says your name like an orchard going into bloom. Angela. A doctor once told me I feel too much. I said, so does God. It's why you can see the Grand Canyon from the moon. We are a telescope, a riverbed. We are an empty lockets melting into gold. Our hearts breaking bread. Fold me in the napkin poem. Pull the tinsel from my hair, from all the past I cannot let go. My gills are adjusting to the air. The story husk peeled from my bones. My bones know the song of our tears. Dripping from the faucet, tuned like a metronome. I know there is better music. Even in this cabin full of fever tonight, I am catching nothing but the light. My body is a mason jar, transparent as jellyfish. I wish for a heart that you can see straight through, for a voice that glows in the dark, and a few really good friends to skip moon rocks to.
My dear friend brought these, what I can only describe as microphone condoms. If anybody want a little, like, you know, germ protection, these are here. Okay, with that, the person who gets to follow microphone condom is Anna N.
Hi, friends. Yeah, I'm Anna. Sometimes I'm called Chicago Anna. They, them. Andrea Gibson, I don't know where she is. Maybe she's just molecules in the universe. Maybe she's alive in your voices tonight. I don't know what views were about afterlife.
Sorry, there.
Hey, I'm so sorry.
That's okay. You got it.
Their views about afterlife. I'm going to say how I heard about them, how I was introduced to Andrea Gibson. It was about 15 years ago. I was hanging out in a place called Newtown Alano Club. It's a place where people go to get help staying sober. And a young woman trusted me a little bit and talked to me, and she thought she might be a lesbian. Maybe she was sure, but she wasn't exactly embracing it. And she wanted to communicate that to me, so she told me about the book, Pansy, and they used this book, and it was kind of a bridge, because she couldn't talk. My friend couldn't talk to me about it, but the book was a bridge. And I didn't hear things about my friend invited me to this. So this is going to be one of Andrea's poems. In emo room, I wear mittens made of ice so I won't lose my fingernails. But I took a risk today to write this down. Whenever today crying, my friends tell me I look high. Good grief. They finally understand me. Even when the arena is empty, I thank God for the shots I miss. If you ever catch me only thanking God for the shots I make, remind me I'm not thanking God. Remind me all my prayers were answered. The moment I started praying for what I already have, she says when people ask if she's out of the woods, she tells them she'll never be out of the woods. Says there's something lovely about the woods. I know how to build a survival shelter. From fallen tree branches, packed mud, and cold moss, I could survive forever on death alone. Wasn't it death that taught me to stop measuring my lifespan by length, but by width? Do you know how many beautiful things can be seen in a single second? How you can blow up like a balloon and fit infinity inside it. I'm infinite, but I still have a measly wrinkle collection compared to my end goal. I would love to be a before picture. I think, as I look in the mirror and mistake my head for the moon, my dark clouds are almost 238,856 miles away from me believing them. I love this life, I whisper into the doctor's stethoscope so she can hear my heart, an heirloom. I didn't inherit it until I thought I could die. go so long believing I owed the world my disappointment? Why did I want to take the world by storm when I could have taken it by sunshine, by rose water, by cactus flowers on the side of the road where I broke down? I'm not about to waste more time spinning stories about how much time I'm owed. But there's a man who is usually here who isn't today. I don't know if he's still alive. I just know his wife was made of so much hope. She looked like a firework above his chair. Will the afterlife be harder if I remember the people I love or forget them? Either way, please let me remember.
Welcome up next to Mike Andy Cow.
Hi, everybody. It's been a minute. It's
Yes, it has.
been a really long time, and I think my voice was maybe a couple weeks higher. I was 35 the first time I recognized myself in New York, and it was like 2 a.m. and I was half awake. And I did a double. Took a look in the bathroom, and I'm like, oh shit. I am the man of my dreams. Cool. I've been dreaming about coming back and saying.
Yes.
I am so grateful to be here. I am so grateful for every single one of you. Because I was an 18-year-old green guided into the poetry scene. 2004 was my very first experience at the National Poetry Slam as a volunteer in sales.
That was a rough one.
I was like 1 out of 10, including like 1 of 10, and like I was so jealous of my parents, whom I live with. Again, currently my dad is turning 82, 83 this year. He's the unsinkable pen caliber. That's a longer story, different time. And we're still in Palatine. And I have been separated from my family for so long, from all of you. And this is where my heart is, and I am so grateful.
Welcome home.
But, after the breakup, our tandem bike breaks. Or speaks. I apologize. Rage fantasies, guys. To say it was anyone's fault would be to misunderstand the headwind that every love faces, how quickly a halo can bust a hole and go flat. One rock bottom, and there is nothing left but something to be replaced. Call it jealousy, but couldn't it also be called faith? To believe there is always something better than you out there. People, without knowing, choose the hardest years. Harder and harder until they stop moving forward. Stop moving forward, and it's impossible not to crash. I know I'm not built to believe in anything but forever. I know what I call fate, others call a chain. It's true that everything about me says, please stay together. You can say it's just how I was made. but I'm certain it's more about what I've seen. And most people don't live because the petals have turned into layouts. That's just how they spin the story. To not have to grieve, a more impossible thing. That history didn't stay in its lane. That the tiniest dents rusted so much away, they simply stopped knowing how to hold each other tighter than they could hold the bricks. I understand that I am nothing without them. I understand that I am something that is nothing without love. But what in this world would I rather be than something that is nothing without love? It's worth the rest of my days covered in dust.
All right, we've got 3 more people on the open mic list. Please, welcome up next, BKH. It's so mysterious. Are you still here? BKH. Oh yes, come on up. Give a blood and many
There you go. Thank you so much for everything you shared. I gotta say, I didn't really know Andrea's poetry until I got the email from Marty from CBC like a month ago. And like all things poetic, the last few years for me, it has been such a touchstone of hope and an opportunity to really like figure out who I am. You know, I loved the reading of Tincture. That shit was amazing. And I loved the other piece that somebody shared that talked about, you know, oh, the angel would get through. And when I told my mom years ago, I think I was in jail at the time, that I'm going to give up my career and be a poet, she was like, well, if you need to pay your rent. So, mom is an angel now too, and again, those the people who come into our lives and touch us like that, there's so much gratitude. And hearing you guys share your experience and getting in touch with Andrea's poetry has been really just a blessing. After I read some of her stuff, which I don't know how they connect or if they do or don't, but we'll give it a shot. It's called I'm an Old Dog. I'm an old dog, bound by a new chain, left to poetic vices in the skeevy front of a double-wide metaphor. For how much I bark at each passerby, my bite is as gap-toothed as the fence in between. It may seem improbable that I've learned some new tricks, determinedly pacing, throwing hypothetical shade. Go on cast sideways glance, skitter past skittering, soul comes untethered, leaves body behind.
All right, our penultimate open micer, Melody. Melody, are you here? Are you here? Melody. All right. In that case, we move on directly to Sam Herschel Wine.
And then last.
You close out the open. I mean, I'm going to say some things. You're at last.
I encountered Andrew's work for the first time in college when I got into slam poetry, which has now become poetry, which has now become my life. And when I was trying to teach myself how to perform, because I never really performed very much, I used to watch one of their YouTube videos over and over and over again until I started to know it by heart and recite it in my sleep. And it is, of course, a poem about like a queer person being burned alive, which says a lot about my psyche and mental wellness at that time. surprised to meet Andrew many years later and see them perform several times. And I remember when I was at the end of college, I went home with a signed poster of them and put it up in my childhood bedroom wall. I was like, I'm gonna be a poet. I was. So this is Ashes. That has an epigraph. A couple of years ago, I was told a story about a soldier who was set on fire and burned to death because he was gay. After that, I started reading similar stories, and I remember the video. Andrew was like, too many stories. Don't read that many stories about people who were in the LGBTQ community who were tortured or killed by being gay, set on fire and burned. I couldn't stop thinking of the way people would die that way. I couldn't stop wondering what they might say from where they are now. Ashes. The night I was torn from the pages of their Bible and burned alive, my ashes came down like snow. And a girl who had never seen my face saw me falling from the sky and lay down on her back to make an angel. In the powder of my bones from heaven I watched her. Though my eyes were still flame, and my ribs were still blue, they didn't win. I whispered, as her arms filled my wings, they didn't win. Look at that moon. It is a pebble in my hand. Tonight, I could skip it across that fog-drunk sea to ashes, accordion in the light, and all they know of hate is that they couldn't beat the love out of me. Then when they dropped me to the grave, I fell like a bucket into a well and came up full, carving my lover's name into the skin of a weeping willow that spent its entire life laughing at the rain. Hold me like a lantern, staircase my spine. When they bring their children to my funeral to scream faggot at my dust, tell them I was born into this casket. But I wouldn't pull the splinters from my heart any more than Christ would pull the thorns from his crimson head. They can come 1,000 times with their burning matches and their gasoline, with their hungry laws and their empty mouths full of prayers to that God who greeted me at his gates with his throat full of trumpets and his tears of shame as his trembling palms collected the cinders of his children's crime. I know what holy is. I know the soul is shaped like a bowl. I know the lies we try to fill it with and the orchards inside we too often spill. But my lover's shoes were laced with guitar strings, and when I walked beside, there was a silo in my chest. There was a field full of sun. There was a river full of gold that we left to pick our sweet hearts from the trees that kept uprooting tombstones so the names of the dead would crumble into poems. Write me down like this. Say my ashes never made the news. The jury was full of shotguns. Say the snow that is falling on the tip of your tongue will refuse to melt away. Say this to the kids hiding their heartbeats from their fathers. I planted the garden of my kiss. I opened the night with my cheek. I love so hard that when you press your ear to the track, the train they hear coming will still be my chest. A rumbling harpoon, a sky they pray. Look at that moon. I am a pebble in her hand, a harmonica held to the mouth of the river where nothing ever burns.
Come on.
Can we applause one more time for the showcase readers and the urban readers? And anyone live stream, and everyone who's going to see this in all times and spaces and spheres and dimensions. If you'll indulge me, I want to close with prayers. Before I do that, I want to read a poem of mine that I wrote for Andrea. I had thank you. Yes. Thank you for insisting. I got to be in Denver for the memorial 2 weekends ago, and my friend Mindy Netterfield, brilliant poet, writer, astrologer, trumpetist, Mindy Netterfield, putting that when she was, I just feel like I've been chewing on rocks all day. And no more tears. And when I felt that way the next morning in the hotel room, off the floor was this poem that I felt was Andrea like, still here. You know? Many of you probably know that one of the last things that Andrea said before they transitioned was, I fucking love this life.
Come on.
So, you know, we can be sad. It's all right. But we don't get to fuck off.
Fuck off with the heart.
You know? So. When I die, say shitty things about me, too. Admit that I lived imperfectly, that I drank too much sometimes and never did the dishes or made the bed and had a habit of making things about me. Like today, as I'm thinking about my friend's memorial service, thinking how great and authentic it was that the people closest to them, who loved them the most fiercely, freely admitted aloud that they were, in addition to being a rock star, bodhisattva, lighthouse for the world, a pain in the ass sometimes, even often. And as I think this, what emerges is a poem with not just I in the title, but also me, a double shot of navel gazing, also a solipsism, which is the word I was going to use, until it occurred to me that one of the things someone might say at my funeral is that I use a lot of $10 words when a nickel would do. I was also hoping that a metaphor might blossom, like my friend would have written. Something about the belly button being the holiest spot on the body because it's where we split from our mothers. The evidence of our first separation, that first group, a necessary one, we then spend our whole lives trying to mend. Friend, I'm trying to mend. To live my life all the way out edges before it ends. Friend of many names. A language that flies out and loops back on itself again and again, so many times mentioning the moon, so often interrogating death and her tidal hole, the glory of how fucking hard it is sometimes to be alive, to stay. Though Mr. Wisdom, and watching you dance, I feel you at my navel. The knot popped out the first months of my life when I could not stop screaming. I promise, I will not stop screaming, or navel gazing, or writing a persistent, oblately spheroid, meaning imperfect moon.
Come on,
she texted me about that poem after I had posted it on the Substack, and which I normally am very much like, oh, everything has to be like highly edited before it goes out in the world. And I was like, I just posted it, and then there were typos and whatever, and I was like, and I said, but I felt like Andrea was like, just, you know, get out there, and Meg put it perfectly, which she said, yeah, of course, because Andrea was connection over perfection.
Come on.
Every time. Yeah. So that's that. So I do want to close with Andrea's love letter from the afterlife. Godspeed to us all with tissues. My love, I was so wrong. Dying is the opposite of leaving. When I left my body, I did not go away. That portal of light was not a portal to air, but a portal to here. I am more here than I ever was before. I am more with you than I ever could have imagined. So close you look past me when wondering where I am. It's okay. I know that to be human is to be farsighted. But feel me now, walking the chambers of your heart, pressing my palms to the soft walls of your living. Why did no one tell us that to die is to be reincarnated in those we love while they are still alive? Ask me the altitude of heaven and I will answer, how tall are you? In my pocket is a love note with every word you wish you'd said. At night I sit ecstatic at the loom, weaving forgiveness into our worldly regrets. All day I listen to the radio of your memories. Yes, I know every secret you thought too dark to tell me, and love you more, for everything you feared might make me love you less. When you cry, I guide your tears toward the garden of kisses I once planted on your cheek, so you know they're all perennials. Forgive me for not being able to weep with you. One day, you will understand. One day you will know I read the poetry of grief to those still waiting to be born, and they are all the more excited. There's nothing I want for now that we are so close. I open the curtain of your eyelids with my own smile every morning. You can see the beauty of your spirit is right now making of your pain. Your deep-seated fears playing musical chairs, laughing about how real they are not. My love, I want to sing it through the rafters of your bones. Dying is the opposite of leaving. I want to echo it through the corridor of your temples. I am more with you than I ever was before. Do you understand? It was me who beckoned the stranger who caught you in her arms when you forgot not to order for two at the coffee shop. It was me who was up all night gathering sunflowers into your chest the last day you feared you would never again wake up feeling lighthearted. I know it's hard to believe, but I promise it's the truth. I promise one day you will say it too. I can't believe I ever thought I could lose you. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for being. Please feel free to hang out and talk to each other. Cry with each other, cry